Doing 600 miles for one trip.
On Sunday. Yep. Just somebody's got to get him out of the hospital. So, and we're fortunate enough, like I said, that we have a gentleman that I think he would drive to California if you needed a ride, to tell you the truth.
Welcome back to NEMT Experts. I've got a star Bambi customer with me, Ryan Reifert, the owner of Carelink Transportation. Ryan, how you doing?
Great. Good to hear from you.
Ryan owns a 10-vehicle NEMT business in Muscatine, Iowa. Ryan, let's get a bit into your background and you buying this business a few years ago. What were you doing before this, and how did you decide to buy Carelink Transportation?
Well, I had worked for a family business. My family had ran a Pepsi distributorship for 60 some years and had a candy business also that it went included with that. Along the line, one of my good friends had opened up a business about 15 years ago, and we were eating breakfast a couple times a week and always staying in touch. So I kind of was interested through that. We would bounce ideas off, and I always thought it was an interesting business to be in, and also rewarding. And then along after, I think it was right around 2019, the family had sold to other businesses, and I had worked a little bit, and then was approached by my friend to come to work with him in the non-emergency world. So I worked with him for a while. We had discussions about me purchasing the company or maybe selling, in the future. But as things worked out, we had some options that came up. So we had talked or whatnot, and this seemed to be the best idea for both of us, was for me to kind of venture off on my own. No hard feelings, a great family. Still meet with the two owners weekly, try to more, but yeah.
So you bought this business nearly 2 years ago, right?
Correct. It was already established. Another lady had owned it 8 years, I think. So she was mainly doing out of county, which is a little ways from us. It's not right in the hometown where our office or our lab is what we call it. We're just kind of got a little office space in an old warehouse that my parents had owned and shared with another one of their family businesses. But
when you bought this business 2 years ago, this company was only doing ambulatory trips, right?
correct. We had 4 vans. She did have an extra, I think, or one that she read, and so maybe it was 4 or 5 that came for ambulatory. So that was interesting to me that there was that much of a need for it. I didn't see the ambulatory as far as in the previous business was majority of the wheelchair. So it was exciting for us, and we knew going into it, could have done this without a great team either. I have a good friend of mine and good friend of the family. His name's Jeff, that works side by side with me. So that was a tremendous help as far as that goes. So he's been, he knew, and we had a pretty good business plan and knew going into this that that's the first thing we were going to do was buy a wheelchair van. And we ended up lucking out and getting a lady or a gentleman that had done that work in the past and was looking for a new job. So we kind of jumped into it right away with that.
So as soon as you bought the business, you bought wheelchair vans and introduced that?
Yeah. Well, it was maybe 4 months later or 5 months. It was right away. And then it was just bingo bango, because we have 4 now. And as of the 2 years, we didn't have any 4 wheelchairs.
So in total now, you operate with how many vehicles?
11.
11. And what's the breakdown? You've got how many ambulatory and how many wheelchair vehicles?
7 ambulatory and 4 wheelchair.
Okay. And what's the breakdown of your sources of trips? You guys do private pay work, you do broker work, you work with facilities in your area, you do one-off passengers, you do all of the above, right?
Correct.
What would you say is roughly the breakdown of your different sources of trips?
Unfortunately now a lot of it is broker. I would say 70%, if not more of it, is daily ambulatory. We do a lot of work for the wheelchair on the sides and some on the weekends or whatever, but I would say most of our wheelchair comes through a broker as of now. We just, with our last wheelchair van, we're going into a new territory, a new area that doesn't have hardly any wheelchairs. So we're hoping that ratio is going to change.
Okay. That's actually a good transition into my next set of questions, because you guys operating in Iowa, you cover a fairly large area, right?
Yeah. Jeff just stepped in. I don't, what do you think, Jeff's 100 miles? At least for us.
100-mile radius for sure, and minimum.
Yeah, minimum of 100-mile radius. I mean, we're fortunate enough. We have a guy that likes to do long trip. So we're doing this Sunday. We have a trip that's 3 hours away. We're doing 600 miles on Sunday, just with one trip. So yeah, and then we have another van going out. There's a lot of opportunity in the rural if you have the people that your average might be 40 miles for the trip or whatnot.
You're doing 600 miles for one trip.
On Sunday. Yep. Somebody's got to get him out of the hospital. So, and we're fortunate enough, like I said, that we have a gentleman that I think he would drive to California if you needed a ride, to tell you the truth. And he likes those long trips. I called him up and I thought, well, I think we lost the run. And he said, yeah, I'll take it for sure. And then we ended up getting it, long story short. But yeah, he was all excited. So we do a Mayo Clinic. I'm sure you're from Illinois, so you know some of the places that we go to. We've been there a couple times and a few other places. So
Here's the $1,000,000 question. How do you develop your pricing? How do you charge for these crazy long trips?
we have a load fee. I can't obviously say exactly the pricing, but we have a load fee as far as getting into the van, like probably standard people, and then we have a mileage charge. On some of those mileages that in the long ones, like say, for example, the first 5 miles are free. First 10 miles are free. But other than that, we stick to our guns. We're pretty aggressive on our pricing. We knew that coming in, and
That's a broker trip.
yeah, that's a broker trip too. So
Okay, so I'm sure that you're negotiating with your brokers on these long trips and what the pricing is, right?
we don't. I wish we did more. It's set on what it is. We're set. We can change it at any time, but it's set. The negotiation. What's that? Yeah, the negotiation amount, like on this Sunday, is the deadhead back when he's empty. It's just a discharge. As far as the long trips, it's just the same pricing. We don't change it and haven't changed it for a year.
Okay. So like this 600-mile trip that you're doing on Sunday, that's a broker trip.
Yep.
These trips where you're even going across state lines, are those broker trips as well?
Yes.
Okay. How do you let the brokers that you work with know, hey, I'm willing to do trips that are, beyond state lines and these crazy long distances? How does the broker know that, like, hey, Carelink Transportation is the one that we should be sending these trips to?
We're fortunate enough that she's located about 3 hours away. Excuse me. And the gentleman that's been doing that has been working there for 5 years. So they kind of know. Other than that, there's actually a portal, I guess is like a website we would go to bid to try and get those rides. And they're set with the next amount of dollars with ours. So there might be 50 rides for next week in the locker is what they call it. So the providers can see that and then apply for those rides. A lot of it, we're fortunate enough. It seems like a lot of the people around here in this business, can't handle that or have somebody to handle the long distance.
Gotcha. So you guys try to get the longer distance and even crazy long distance trips. You don't want to just stay in servicing your own local area. Is that right?
No, I mean, we've put people up in hotels for a night, that have had to come back when it's a 6 hour drive, it's not safe to go there and back or whatnot. So that's kind of, if it's too far and they're willing to stay, we have them stay. But other than that, that's just, the more miles, the better. We run those, I think they're all 7 Hondas. So we've been happy with those. I'll sell Hondas if anything goes sour.
Ryan, this is so interesting. Like, you have drivers who regularly, you'll get crazy long distance trips. They'll regularly stay in hotels
Well,
to do
regularly, that's the idea, is to have them at the night ones. It doesn't happen very often. And one of the gentlemen's, like I said, would drive from here to California. So he's like, "Oh, I just want to get home." So the one
Has
way
he
to help with
driven
that
from
is
here to
just
California before?
where'd he go? Colorado, Minnesota. Yeah, he's driven a long ways. His wife hasn't flown since 9/11, I think he told me. So he'd
Okay.
drive. They were in Florida, not on our dime, but
So, I mean, how do you think about these trips? Like, you have your regular trips that you do in your local area in Iowa, or at least within the 100-mile radius. When one of these long distance trips comes in, do you have to know pretty far in advance so you can block off a driver for a full day or multiple days and still manage whatever trips you got going on locally?
we do. But a lot of our drivers, they want to be working, so they know that driving's part of it. So, and we're able to shuffle around, and we're lucky, between having Jeff and having these people, that if we tell them, "Hey, we got a long trip," somebody else will step in. But really, we don't do that. I mean, we had a trip today. It was an hour and a half. We left. We had a van there, but it was an hour and a half away. So she's coming down. Yeah, we turn them down too. I get myself in trouble by Jeff for not turning some of them down. But yeah, we just, man, we chop it up. And
Okay.
obviously Bambi's helping with that. That goes now to be able to see it all in front of us. We were gun ho. We had some bumps in the road. I'm gonna admit that, on coming on, and just the technology, making, we went through. Well, now this is our second technology in a little under 2 years, I guess. So if that tells
Ryan,
you,
you just brought up my favorite topic.
I'm sure it is.
Can you tell us about that? Like, you took over the business nearly 2 years ago. Sometime later, you got onto your first tech platform, and then you
I
go to Bambi. Can you tell me about the switch from going to the first one and then going from that first one now to Bambi?
Yeah, I had some experience in my previous job with two other software companies in the non-emergency world. So I kind of knew what one we were going to use, or were leading into going into it, just because I had heard headaches and been with the other one. She was on paper. We knew the minute we flipped the trigger, we were going to a software. There was no way. I'm not very good at Excel and the daily and the handwriting, and Jeff didn't either. So it was probably the first week or two, we were like, "This is gonna happen." So we jumped right into that. That went well as far as getting it in front of our face and seeing what was going on, easier for us. But it just, and we, granted, they were great for a long time, and they were helping with what we needed. But there was a time in the last 2 years that we were full blown, that we needed to, and then that's when we had called you, and 2 seconds later, literally, you called me back, and we had talked. We had seen you at NEMTech or whatever, and I liked what we had heard. But the speed we were growing in your customer service, and you guys being able to talk to, is what really sold the idea of switching, and then sold when we'd had enough.
Okay.
Because believe me,
So,
we have a couple of old school people that are on the back burners, that, "What, you're changing in software and blah blah blah." But Jeff and I are at that age, so we know what's out there. So
good deal. So, it was Bambi's customer service and support that's timely and awesome, if I may
right,
say so myself.
definitely.
What else was it about the software that you were on where you were like, "Hey, you know what? This isn't cutting it for what our needs are. Bambi has something that does have that." What was that specifically that you guys needed?
We needed like all of it almost in one place. We didn't feel like they were making the jump. We had been getting promised, using an app and two different software, literally two different softwares, to get it under one umbrella with you and being and Bambi and your team, and to be able to see the layout. What was a huge thing for your calendar look as far as Run Bambi Run. I mean, we do use Run Bambi Run. I'm going to be honest. Not all of it's because we have special people like that guy that runs all the time, or drive everywhere. We know his routes and his local people, so we just dump him on. We have some people that only work 25 or 30 hours. The rest of them would work as many as possible. So yeah, the whole scheduling. I mean, that was what we really needed when we got to a certain number of runs, and the runs that that our goals are set on. We knew there was a better way, or had to be. We were in the wrong business, one way or the other. But
And you've
yeah,
been on Bambi for how many months now?
three or four. We had you probably for a month before we made or a month and a half before we made everybody jump on board, just for the fact of easing into it. And then we were fortunate enough to have some new people come on right away that we were able just to hand the Bambi app to. So and that's something that the part of the user friendly for the driver is what I can't see, let alone some of these people. They like the clear print right in front of you, one button to where you're going. I mean, some of them have fat fingers like me, and they have to call us to back out, but they understand that. But yeah, that the driver's app kind of sold me too.
Cool.
The promise of the evolution from the AI.
Yeah, definitely. And the promise of the evolution of the AI is it was a huge thing. And to hear you and the excitement of somebody going into that in your team, because whether anybody likes it or not, it's coming one way or another. And there's so much, and we really didn't like the Bambi run. We're both deer hunters, also in the Midwest, like your no lift NEMT from Indiana, but it kind of grew on us knowing that you guys had something else in mind to grow into, along with us, because we're always looking for other revenue streams.
Cool. Jumping back to these long distance trips, I want to understand, when you send a driver from your area in Iowa to Colorado or to Minnesota, what are these trips? Like, is a driver taking a passenger from Iowa to that state, or taking them back to your state, or are they going there and doing a local trip? Like, are these ambulatory or wheelchair passengers? Can you tell me, like, what do these trips look like?
The big trips over 3 or 4 hours, most of them are treatment centers. We have some places that they need a ride out of Davenport, and it's the only place that has an open bed, and they need it now. So some of those we're just driving up there, ambulatory, dropping off, and turning around and coming back. Other ones, there's a big hospital where our guy just sits. We're paying him to eat lunch or to read a book or whatever, but these people got to get to where they need to be, and that's just something I should probably look at more. Like I said, Jeff, these long distance ones got to get us every once in a while, but yeah, it's just we have a couple ladies, they're going to school, so they take their laptop and they'll do homework while they're there, whatnot, on the far ones. Obviously, anything with under an hour or two, we don't want them parked more than an hour.
Okay, but you charge for that wait time that they're parked there, right?
That's included in one way or another. We charge in it. It's included in our total for sitting that long. There's some deals. If you sit over 4 hours, they'll work with you. But we've been
Okay.
lucky and haven't got stuck out there waiting for anybody too far away.
Gotcha.
About 2 hour appointment and then back.
And these are all of them broker trips, or some of them broker trips?
Most of them are broker trips. Unfortunately, I mean, that's where we're headed, is the private. Coming into it, she was about 100% broker. So yeah, we're really the private. We do some private to Chicago's 3 hours away from us. So there's some airport runs, and there's a Peoria's probably over by where you're from. We've done some private runs that far, just because once you get over into Illinois, things get a little different as far as the Medicaid and Medicare and who's set up with who.
Okay. So you're actually taking a passenger from Iowa to another state to get a treatment at a facility that doesn't exist in Iowa, or to O'Hare Airport in Chicago or back. You're actually transporting the passenger that distance. You're not going there doing a local trip or whatever.
No, not like an Uber. No. But you got to remember, we're on the Mississippi River, so we will literally border. Like, I can look out our window and see Illinois. So we're crossing. That's the Quad City. So we're crossing the bridge, and a lot of those hospitals are all within 15 miles on Jeff or something. They're all pretty close.
Okay. If it were an ideal world, Ryan, would you have all of your drivers just doing long distance trips every day, all day?
I don't think so, because I don't think we could have the culture and the people around that do this. They like to talk to people. We like to talk to people and see people. I mean, some of these people are taking 3 or 4 times a week. Even though it's a 10-minute ride, you can know a lot about somebody, or they can get a lot off their chest in 10 minutes. I would have 3 of our drivers, I think, as of now with our numbers, to do the long trips, just because I know 3 of them would rather do 2 or 3 trips a day instead of our 6 or 7 that we would like.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, what you're saying is like there's an element of the company culture that has to be maintained. And you can only maintain that if you're doing a good amount of local trips where your drivers are transporting the same passengers in your local area and
Right.
talking to those passengers during those short 10-minute trips.
And it's our advertising in the market. I mean, we're a firm believer of, I think you've probably seen 1 or 2 of our vans, but we've got a lot of calls by seeing our van, and we like to get the name known in town too.
Yeah.
So it's, and we got some good workers that communicate well. I mean, obviously everybody drags their feet a little bit, but I think we do a good job of adjusting that. But they'll call us and tell us, hey, I'm running late. They don't just rely on Bambi for us to look at Bambi. They're calling and telling us and checking in. So I mean, we've been really lucky with who we have. Everybody's been here besides our new people. Well, since we took over, we still have 2, so they're looking at 4 years, and then everybody else has been here right around since we started.
What do you think are like the keys to success in retaining all these employees you have for such a long period of time?
Well, I think it's culture, and some of the ones we've been lucky because we've got some that have come from other companies. One was a CNA, another one they enjoy that. So we've been and meeting people. So that's kind of what it is. I mean, we all get along. We do our safety meetings and then have a little bit of fun. And Jeff and I try to, throw some bonuses out. We're looking more at some safety stuff, but we're all friends. I think that's really what it is. And they can call. It goes a little bit. Sometimes maybe we're too lenient, more maybe than other people, but both Jeff and I have come from family businesses our whole lives, and kind of understand that there's a benefit to both sides. And when we hire on, we tell them, you're part of the team, and we'll got your back if you have ours. And just the easier to communicate is getting people off early. I mean,
Well, everything sort of comes around. Like you maintain this culture of keeping your employees happy, they're happier, they have good relationships with the clients you transport. And because of that, now you're getting referral business, right?
Right. Which is, I mean, though, I was surprised coming into this and being around the customer service, how many non-complaints there's people calling to say good job. It's good to hear, and they know the people. They ask. We get some of our people like to ask to have the same drivers. We don't do that all the time, but we'll have little customers call weekly thanking us just for and can tell us we have the best drivers. And I saw Fred, Joe, the same 3 this week that he saw last week.
Every week you have customers calling you just to say thank you for the good job.
I'm not exaggerating on one. We've had days where we got 2 or 3. I've had 2 this week. And the problem with some of it is we would love to take them all the time, but again, it goes to the broker, and then they're based off pricing, and then whoever they send it to. So we try to talk to them and help them out as much as they can and become their preferred, because a lot of these people need to see the same people, or at least the same NEMT van that's going to be there, that's reliable, that they can look at. But unfortunately, in this business, there's a lot of smaller cars that I just see with stickers on it driving around, that we hear the other end of that and don't like to talk about any other businesses. But when you're going to the doctor's appointment, you need to get the doctor's appointment. And there's a lot of them around here that have been missing, I guess.
Yeah.
Reliable is what we need to be. And I think we have proven that with growing this fast and how we have is
Well, get it right.
Yeah,
Check it out.
we have, that's a good point, Jeff. We have people that won't take a ride with anybody else but us. So that's good. And they even call and tell them they cancel and try to, but I mean, we get in trouble for why is this other company coming, coming to get us? We want you guys. It's hard for us on that end until we explain to them, and then they fix it or they'll pay out of their pocket for us.
So these are broker customers or clients that you're transporting.
Yeah.
They say, hey, I don't want to ride with anyone but Carelink. If the broker won't give them Carelink, then they'll just pay out of their own pocket and be a private pay client.
For us, not all the time, but they will that day or ask us to come get them. You know what I mean? They just not worth
Wow.
it to a few of them. Some of them, they're used to you and special needs or whatnot, and but yeah, they just really we do and then have clean vans, and we have car washes. We're supposed to wash them once a day. If they can't, we have memberships to 2 or 3 different ones. So we take it pretty serious in the cleanliness of the vans.
That's amazing. There's nothing, there's no customer loyalty that's stronger than that. Like,
There isn't, and
broker
that
doesn't give
comes
me
from
Carelink, I'll pay out of my own pocket for Carelink.
that. It is, and it's something to be proud of, and we are proud of it. And it's unfortunate, and I have a little bit, maybe sometimes too big a heart on this. When somebody can't get to where they need to be, but the options there, I think money shouldn't be that much of an issue. I mean, we have enough companies running around there. If somebody's open, have them take it. So.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, speaking of which, I mean, can you sort of share with us, like, you bought this business nearly 2 years ago, 4 ambulatory vehicles. You've moved up to 11 vehicles in a pretty short amount of time, in less than 2 years.
Yep.
I mean, what annual revenue roughly are you doing with your 11 vehicles at this point?
Boy, I don't like to get into numbers more than that. I'll tell you that we've paid for our vans. We don't borrow money to buy for vans.
Okay.
But we're close to the big number. I mean, we tripled the size of revenue from the 4. We've almost tripled it in that first year. I'm shooting for. I got some big numbers in mind. So
Yeah. What are your goals? I mean, you don't have to share the numbers, but for the next 2 years, like, what are your goals for Carelink? Like, do you see yourself significantly expanding the size of your fleet or doing different kinds of transport than you do now?
I would like to get to 15 vans. I would like to get in to see what we can do right now, and then start going and kind of being able to have the time in the vans to get out in the public. I mean, our broker does a good job, as far as what they can do for us. But I see us being more into facilities, and the baby boomers coming up. Our name's getting out there. We're getting a lot of people that are calling us for their parents. That one lady called from Florida. They're finding us online, but her mom lives 45 minutes away, and she's just excited as heck that she got a hold of somebody that will take her. That instead of her calling the Medicaid or Medicare. So it's pretty cool. I'm excited for the future, big time. And we have a good momentum going behind all of us right now. So.
Yeah. I mean, when you bought this business less than 2 years ago, it was 100% broker. Now 30% of your work is private pay. And I assume that number you're expecting that to grow over the next.
I would like to be over 50% private pay. That's a high goal in this business. And what I consider private pay is either the people that are going to the airport or paying for their facilities. I would love, but we kind of break it down in different terms than some of them. Private pay would be the people that need it or are calling for theirs.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, those are high goals that you can maybe in that private pay get in some facility, but we got some good relationships, signed some contracts with people that are closing. They're closing a couple grocery stores, and that grocery store wants to haul people to be able to get to their groceries. So we're doing about everything we can to get our name out there. So we're leaving 2 vans at one grocery store that's closing down and hauling people over to get their groceries, and then taking them home or back to the other grocery store. So we're always looking for any type of extra transportation.
So you're not just doing, trips to healthcare appointments. You're taking people wherever they need to go.
Right. We have one lady that she'll go 6 places with us on one day. And she goes to 2 grocery stores, a food bank, and then a bank maybe, and then somewhere. So she always calls like 3 weeks ahead, booking. Hey, so we're not busy, she thinks, but she'll always call like 3 weeks ahead and be like, "I'm shopping on this Tuesday. Could you guys handle 6 runs?" So we do a lot of I'm drawing a blank. What do they call it? Healthy trips, yeah. Or
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Mental wellness.
mental wellness, yeah, wellness trips where some of these facilities now are just to get their people out and about, or calling it a wellness trip. So they do certain amount of trips, we'll give them a free wellness trip. It's just to get them out. I mean, it's awful hot right now, but it's gonna pass.
Wow. So like this one lady, she'll call you 3 weeks in advance, and basically you'll dedicate one driver and vehicle,
Oh, yeah.
basically just to her all day to do 6 trips just for her.
Oh yeah, because if you don't send that one driver, she has a tendency of being sick or doesn't show up sometimes. But we send the one, either the same 2 of them, because if you threw a newbie in that, it wouldn't work. But yeah, yep. And it just happens that they live close to each other, within a half hour. But yeah, she's got it down pat to the time, and he probably knows her runs in order. He doesn't even need to look at Bambi.
Wow. It's
No, but like I've said
really,
before, but besides having, a great team around here, a great family, and a great group of people, like Jeff and I have been friends forever, and I've worked with my dad and in the family business forever. They've been a big help too. I mean, that's not gonna. It was crazy, and still is crazy some days.
it's like at the end of the day, you can figure out your pricing rates and your nuts and bolts, but really the success of Carelink is just all about the relationships that you've built, like within your organization, your team, with your brokers, your sources of private pay, the clients you transport. Like, it's all just about developing good relationships, it seems like, and everything else flows from there.
Right? Yeah, and that's what we try to do for sure. But that's what people need to just slow down. You hear this all the time, but people just need to slow down and relax a little bit more. Plus, we live in the Midwest, man. We're not out in California. We don't need to be running like all you guys.
I love it. I love it. Well, I ain't slowing down, Ryan, but I
Better not be,
like
because
the
we're coming with
masterclass
you.
on- Say what?
I said you better not be, because we're coming with you here. We have high expectations. We're just getting started in the business and with you.
I love it. I love it.
Run, Bambi, run.
Awesome.
Thank you.